Well, hello, my name is SherriAnneDuffy-King, and um, I wrote Graves, alright? But I wrote it this year, but it's been a story that's been in my head since my mom told it from when I was little. So I decided to incorporate it and make it into a book because it was just disturbing enough to stick with me forever, right? So without further ado, let's get started. Graves, Chapter 1, The Place of Setting. A warm breeze brushed past me as I sat on the blanket on my Uncle Jim's lawn, surrounded by my step-siblings, Ryan, Rosie, and Randy Kai, and my biological brother, Jamie. We all just returned from the Smiths across the busy street in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was the mid-90s as my mom sat across us in her white booty shorts and sports bra. And yes, she did wear white booty shorts and a sports bra. She thought that was her fashion. You know how many times my mom was mistaken for a prostitute? Many times. She wasn't, though, alright? Her black fanny pack moving up and down as she began her story. I crossed my legs and continued to snack on my crispy Cookie Crisp cereal. Chapter 2, Grave Oles. Dean sat up in his bed. It was a bit humid in his room. He brushed his fingers through his wet hair. "Dean, come here!" Dean's mom called. He threw off the blankets and hopped off of his bed. "Coming, Mama!" He entered the room, and in stood his mom, a bit chunky and tired looking, her red hair pulled into a bun, sweat drizzling down her forehead. "Monster Masher, could you please run to the store for some goodies? Daddy's gonna be late and we need some food for dinner tonight." Dean flashed his biggest smile. "Sure, Mom." Dean's mom walked into the kitchen and pulled her wallet from on top of the fridge. "Here's the list and the cash. Just head to Corner Mart down the street and then come back. Don't talk to strangers. I love you, my little man." His mom gave him the biggest hug and kiss. He pulled from the warm embrace and headed to the door. "I'll be back. I love you, Mama." He opened the door and closed it from behind him, hearing 3 Days Grace blaring on the radio and the family vacuum coming to life. Dean started to hum to himself as he climbed the stairs from their brick apartment that was hidden in an alley. The stairs were black iron and creaked under his weight as he descended the last step. Dean glanced at the shopping list in his mom's handwriting and then shoved the parchment into his front pocket. At the end of the alley, Dean turned left and got on the sidewalk. It was a quiet day. Clouds started to move in, and a cold wind started to pick up. A chill ran down Dean's spine. Thunder and lightning crackled above him in the sky. Not a single soul was out. It was getting eerie for him. In the farthest distance, Dean could hear the sound of wheels on the sidewalk. The noise started out quiet and then started to get louder. Dean couldn't see anyone behind him, but the sound was nearing him. He jumped off of the sidewalk onto the grass near some trees. A fast blur sped past him on rollerblades. Dean decided he was going to stay on the grass, but soon he could hear the sound of the wheels, but they were on grass. The sound got closer. Dean glanced around him again. Nothing but empty air behind him. Nothing but empty air behind him. He was almost to Corner Mart. The sound of rushing wheels on grass started to get louder and louder. It was almost upon him. Dean hurried and dived off the grass onto the empty road. A whoosh of air on rollerblades rushed past him. He got up and started to run the rest of the way until he was safe in the store. The Asian gentleman and his wife looked at him quizzically. They continued to do what they were doing before Dean had entered the convenience store. The woman was stocking shelves, and the man was watching pro-Asian golf on his box television. Dean took a deep breath, trying to calm his nerves, then pulled out his mom's food list. He walked through each aisle, grabbing the items on the list. Then he got to the bottom of the list and read something that surprised him. Monster Masher, don't forget to treat yourself to whatever you want. Mama loves you. Dean grabbed himself a chocolate milk, whoosh, Sour Patch Kids, and some Lay's barbecue chips. Oh yeah. He walked up to the register with his money and paid the clerk. Then Dean grabbed his items and walked out. Dean felt the weight of the food in his bags. He crossed the street and started heading home. He hopped on the sidewalk and started to walk home. He almost forgot about the weird encounter earlier. Then Dean heard a familiar sound. Wheels on the sidewalk. Faint at first and picking up speed and distance fast, Dean could feel the wind pushing closer to him. He jumped off the sidewalk in the same wind and rollerblades shot past him. The only difference from last time was that he caught a blur of black and white stripes. He decided he was going to stay on the grass for a bit. After a few minutes of gathering his wits, he started for home, but this time he was on the grass. He was almost near his alley. The sound of wheels on the grass started faint and it got faster and louder. Dean looked behind toward the sound. Nothing. But he decided to jump off the grass, skipping the sidewalk and landing on the cool, dark pavement of his alley. Another burst of wind on wheels passed Dean like a yellow and black striped blur. Dean was spooked. He turned and ran down his alley toward his black iron stairs, climbing them as fast as his little legs could carry him. His lungs were straining for air as he pumped them to his floor. He could hear the vacuum and 3 Days Grace music blaring through the wood. Dean dropped his bags and began to bang on the wood. "Mama, open the door!" Bang, bang, bang. "Please help me, Mama! Mama, please!" Bang, 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 bang. He screamed and banged as hard as he could. Sound stopped and everything went quiet. Dean continued to bang, not noticing that his voice was muted. Tears streaked his little blue eyes as he cried and banged uncontrollably on his door. Bang, bang, bang. Out from behind him, 2 sets of hands grabbed onto his ankles, yanking him back down the steep stairs. He grasped onto the icy iron stair handles, holding on for dear life. He continued to scream. He was so terrified to look behind him for fear that it could end his life terribly. Dean hit every step, boom, 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 down as he was nearing the end of the staircase. He heard a sickening noise. He felt his ankles being released. The hands still felt present, yet the weight was gone. He pushed himself up onto his feet and ran up the stairs, continuing to bang upon the wood. Bang, 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 bang. The sound ceased. Darkness enveloped around Dean. Suddenly, the porch light flickered on. The door opened. "Monster Masher, what is wrong? Why are you crying?" Dean felt comfort as his mother hugged him as he cried in terror. She turned him so he was facing the stairs and she was facing their apartment. Her hug was warm. Dean wiped away his tears and looked down the staircase to the alley. Below sat 4 sets of arms and a man with a machete. The arms were unnaturally long and striped. Blood oozed from them. The man stood there guarding Dean and his mother. He moved and started to climb the stairs. Dean felt terror creep up his little form. As he came closer to them, Dean almost let out a scream. His voice was rasping and sore from his chaotic hysteria. The light from their porch lit up the man. Dean's tension faded. His mother pulled away from their hug. "Oh, honey, dinner hasn't even gotten started yet." The man leaned forward, giving Dean and his mother each a kiss and a hug, then reached down and grabbed the bags of food. Dean's dad winked at Dean. "Beware the tale of the Grave Oles." The end. I hope you liked that. There's a little saying that I wrote with it that I thought was great. Give me a second to load it up. The saying is as such: beware the grave oles, horrors untold for children unknown. Be cautious when sending your child out alone. Now, I wrote my little boy into this. Right now he's 6 years old, so obviously I wouldn't send my kid to the store. But when I was told this, I was 6 years old. So, my mom, she's the one who told it. But the thing with how my mom told it was, she said that the child wasn't a boy or a girl, okay? She never mentioned a gender. She just mentioned a child going to the store and these things chasing him. But the ending is a little bit different in her story, which always spooked me, because no one saved the little child as the Grave Oles drug them off and killed them. They just disappeared, which kind of freaked us out. But when I was younger, parents didn't really care a whole lot about their kids as much as they do now. Like, you could go out and go to the store and you could be little. You could play out in the yard and nobody would really bug you. I mean, child abductions were evident still, but not in the areas that I grew up in. And so, with that said, as a child, I was out all the time during the day, from crack of dawn when the sun was coming up till like 3 or 4 in the morning at night, playing with my friends. But, it's kind of spooky to not realize that times have changed and you've got to actually really watch your kids nowadays. And a lot of parents don't watch their kids. So I made my son the star of the story, obviously, and my husband came and rescued him. Which, I told my mom that I updated the story a little bit, and she was happy. She thought that was great. But when I was little, they were still talking about John Walsh's child and how his murderer was never found. But now he's been found, obviously. And then they were talking about Jean Bonnet. And they're still trying to... I think they've cracked her case, but I'm not 100% sure. But what I'm saying is that I wrote the story to make it so that parents save their kids, and to make you think really hard about sending your child out alone. Now, the convenience store is a real place out in Magna. It was just down the street from my blue house that I wrote in the title of A Crucified Innocence, alright? But my blue house isn't a blue house in the book because it's green, because when we first moved there in 95, it was a puke green. Now, the Asian couple who was in the store, every time I went to the store as a child, that's where they were sitting. The guy was always watching Asian golf, and the lady was always stocking shelves. So that's just, they were like family, I always go to the Corn Mart and get food. But I hope you really like that. Thank you so much for joining me. Join me again for another one of my books. Bye-bye, my friends.